Terrified, scared, caught in an ambush. Innocent kids as young as 5 years old, caught in the crossfire when they were on their way to school.
This school bus of a private school had around 40 to 50 students, kids in the age group of 4, 6, 8. They were targeted now. 2 were injured. Others had a very narrow, lucky escape, considering that you had 50 students and this bus was stoned from all sides.
Exposed are the cowardly stone pelters of the valley who have taken it too far. One of the 50 children who was caught in the crossfire is now fighting for his life.
कुछ लड़के थे जिन्होंने पथराव किया है, गाड़ी पे, स्कूल बस पे पथराव किया है, तो इसमें मेरा बच्चा भी था, तो इसको जो है सर में पत्थर लगा है और इसको गहरी चोट लग गई है.
None of the stone pelters have been arrested for their shameless attack on little children. Meanwhile, the government offering mere lip service, condemning the attack.
Well, it's an unfortunate incident that has happened and we strictly condemn it. It's a cowardly act, and those trying to use students as a target, I mean, they should be dealt strictly by law and action will be taken in this case. But this is really unfortunate that, I mean, we are, using kids as a casualty in this conflict.
Mirror now asks, are these attacks on innocent school children proof the government has failed the school children of Jammu and Kashmir? Is it time to stop dealing with stone pelters with kid gloves? Let's debate.
Will the children of this country get hurt? We have to step up and raise our voices. The children in that bus were going to school at 9:30 in the morning. It is a responsibility of the government to keep them safe. A responsibility that the government failed. Why is it that none of these stone pelters were arrested immediately if they were stoning a school bus at 9:30 in the morning? The people who had the audacity to think that they could do this and get away with it, they could target our children and get away with it. Why is it that the government of Jammu and Kashmir has done nothing so far? Joining me right now on the show is our bureau chief from Kashmir in Srinagar, Mir Fareed. Fareed, thank you for joining us. I want you to help our viewers understand the area around which this stone pelting incident happened. What kind of law enforcement is normally present on the roads, and what happened today, and how come no FIR, no arrests? Fareed, can you hear me? All right, I'm not sure if we have that connection with Fareed. We're going to come back to him in a little while. Let me introduce my guest for today. Captain Anil Gaur is a political analyst who brings in the point of view from the valley, also particularly supporting the PDP. Arun Gupta, spokesperson of the BJP. Raja Ejaz Ali, retired IGP crime. Joining us from Kashmir, Rifat Javed, founder of Janta Ka reporter, very senior journalist. Ramakant Gaur, senior lawyer with the Supreme Court. And Mahmood Paracha is an advocate with the Supreme Court. I welcome all of you to this conversation. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to start with Captain Anil Gaur. Captain Gaur, what happened today is despicable and should not happen, should not be allowed in any part of our country at all. Would you say this was a failure of law enforcement? That we're not able to keep our own children safe?
See, the thing of stone pelting on school children is a very heinous thing, and this is condemned by one and all. Now, the same incidents have happened even in other parts of the country, and targeting innocent children, I think these are the most lowest of the low people who do that, and they should be immediately arrested and put behind bars, and the law of the land should be so strict with them that, because I think these people require psychological treatment to target small children. Now, the other problem is that what is in the valley, what is happening is, now why is the school bus being targeted? That is another point that is to be considered. Valley, what has happened is that schools have been burned down, educational institutions have been burned down, there is a underlying, I would say, mindset that is coming in from the Middle East that does not want these children to be educated and be kept into dark ages. Now, this is something is a very worrisome trend, and the government and the people and even I would say the Delhi government, the state government, and all, we all have to sit together and fight this thing, because this is something which is going to take back our country back to the dark ages. And this is this is what is the ISIS agenda.
So tell me something. So tell me something. The way the things have been moving in the past few years. Captain Gore, tell me something. There is a government in the state right now. What has that government done? Why is it that these people were stoning a bus for 2 minutes at 9:30 in the morning, and no one has been arrested? Nobody's been named in the FIR. Was there no law enforcement available on the streets of Shopian at that time of the day?
No, that is what I'm saying. That the government has to take action against the people who were there. The law enforcement agency, the police, is there, and at no time of the day will you find that the streets are devoid of any security personnel. It is either the police or the army convoys or other people that are moving around. And if this incident has happened and the police has not taken cognizance of this and they have allowed this to happen, I think there is a failure of law and order by the police over there. And action has to be taken against those people who were responsible for the security of that area. That I'm not condoning that. But what I'm saying is that you have to keep in mind the underlying agenda of stoning a school bus. That is what is there. You see, till date, this is the first incident that has happened in the valley of stoning a school bus. Why? They don't want the children to go to school. They have burned down the educational institutions. They don't want the children to study. They want the children to be back into the dark ages so that the agenda of the ISIS and all can be propagated through to everyone.
Let me bring in Mir Farid, our bureau chief, who understands Kashmir better perhaps than most other journalists. Farid, thank you for joining us. I'm just going to do an audio check to make sure that you can hear me this time. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Faye.
See, you know, the point simply here, Farid, is this, that there were children going to school at 9:30 in the morning. And for 2 minutes, the bus was stoned. Why wasn't there anybody from law enforcement available? Why wasn't there anybody to identify these stone pelters, to put them behind bars where they belong? There hasn't been a single arrest made so far, and the government still doesn't know who these people were. What happened today? What are the reports that you're picking up? And one managed to pick up these people yet?
Oh, well, yes, Faye, you're absolutely right. The government has to be questioned, and so is the case as far as security agencies are concerned, because this is no other area. This is South Kashmir and this is Shopian. Usually, normally there are thousands of security force personnel that are available. There are around 15 to 16 battalions of CRPF. There is local police, there is armed police, there is a complete dispatch early morning which secure these roads. So where were they at this time? Why wasn't there any ROP, road opening party, or road domination party there? That is something that the police and the security agencies will have to answer. You're right, for 2 minutes the bus was pelted. Imagine the horror these little kids have gone through. Luckily, let me add, God has been very fortunate. God has been very kind that more people have not been injured, because there were 50 students, and the way this bus has been pelted, only 2 were injured, and that's the lucky part. And these two, the other good or fortunate part of news is that they're stable. Both of them are stable, and their parents are with them. But yes, Shopian is a problematic area. Generally, if you talk of the education system, it is the first casualty of any conflict in Kashmir right now. In fact, let me give you the latest update. it. One person has been killed in Shopian again when there was an encounter. Security forces had to open fire on some protesters. And what will happen now? You'll see a strike call from the separatists, and tomorrow you're going to see all schools shut down. So this is the way things have been happening. Bouts of turmoil lead to education being the first casualty. And unfortunately, the disconnect that there exists as far as the political class is concerned, they've left everything for the security forces to take care of in South Kashmir. But even if you talk to people on the ground, I speak to army officers, police officers, CRPF men, they say that they can take care of situation to a certain extent. But ultimately, it is the politicians who have to do their part, but they are non-existent on the ground. You ask PDP, they'll just boast about the fact that they are the South Kashmir is their strong bastion. But where are they now? Why can't they take responsibility for these poor small kids? It is their responsibility to protect them. The government is under responsibility, under oath, to protect each and every citizen, and so are these kids. So a lot of answering for the government to do. It is a bigger question. It's a complex situation. But right now, the onus should be to find out the people who are responsible for this, because unequivocally people have condemned from every sphere of life in the Kashmir Valley, be the separatists, be the civil society, be the government. They have condemned it, so they should be brought to book immediately. These people, these are miscreants. They are the enemies of the society. They have absolutely no business to be there out on the street. They have to be arrested, and an example needs to be set so as no one in the future dares to do it. Yeah.
Would you give us the status of an FIR or an investigation of any kind into this matter? Has the police taken any, have the police taken any steps at all?
Well, I spoke to the district superintendent, who is Shailendra Mishra. In fact, this morning, and after this incident, he was there on the spot. But while he assured us that the police teams have been dispatched, he said that there are certain teams that he has made and they have been dispatched. They are already on job. But as of now, till date, till this time, no arrests have been made. FIRs against unidentified persons. But there is ample evidence or proof, or should I say, eyewitness account in the form of these kids. The driver of the bus is an important person here. He can tell the police who these people were, how many of them, whether their faces were covered. So this won't take rocket science to figure out. And then you talk of the J&K police. Over the years, they have complete expertise in this. They have the technology. They have the men to do it. I do not know why till now nothing, no forward movement has been made. So definitely more needs to be done as far as the police is concerned. They should act swiftly on this. They usually do in such cases, but right now onus is more, because everyone is appalled, everyone is grieved by this incident, and they should do more to set the right precedent, arrest these people, bring them to justice, so that no one in the future dares to really hit a school bus with minor small children, 4-5-year-old, who would have absolutely no idea why they are being pelted, and imagine the situation at that time. So precedent needs to be set, people needs to be punished.
And Fareed, we know, of course, that the Chief Minister, Ms. Mufti, has tweeted. She does tweet a lot. But other than that, have there been instructions given to the police force to keep the other children safe? Any concrete action coming out of the state government, who realizes that this is their responsibility? The children of any state is the responsibility of the state government. So other than lip service and the tweets that we've received so far, anything else that's come out of the state government?
Well, rhetoric, you're absolutely right. These days, it's all about Twitter. People want to be on Twitter just to extract maximum political mileage of almost every issue. Now, Umar Abdullah does it, and now Mehbooba Mufti is doing it. But better is that they should immediately instruct their officers to bring results, produce results on the ground. Now, where is the MLA? PDP has a strong presence in South Kashmir as far as elected members are concerned. They should have been on the spot. They should have been with the school or with the family, but they are nowhere to be seen. Rather than they're preferring to stay in the safe confines of their luxury residences. So this is the problem. People need to do more, and this is Kashmir. Here, political representatives have even bigger responsibility, but unfortunately, they're not doing it. Only that they know best is to score maximum political brownie points over such tragedies, and that's what they're doing. Now, right now, Mehbooba Mufti is the Chief Minister, and importantly, she's also the Home Minister. So this is directly her case. She should do more just to ensure that the people behind this incident are immediately brought to book, and that is something which is missing. other than Twitter, other
Right.
than really coming out and trying to really shout over the rooftop over the issue. Nothing concrete on the ground,
Yes.
nothing to show that, yes, they're serious about ensuring justice and catching the culprits in this case.
All right, Fareed, many thanks for joining us live from Srinagar there. Fareed, our bureau chief in Kashmir, bringing us an insight as to what goes on really on the ground there in Kashmir and how it is shocking despite the heavy presence of law enforcement and, and defense in Shopian, that nobody was there when those children were being stoned and nobody was caught when those children were being stoned. It's something the state government is going to have to answer for. Fareed joining us live from Srinagar. I'm going to go back to my guest, Arun Gupta, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us out of Jammu. Mr. Gupta, would you say the state government has failed completely? Because it is the state's job to provide safety to every citizen.
Good evening, first of all. I don't think the state government has failed. Please understand. The state government is doing their job in this very difficult conditions. What conditions you have in Kashmir is not something a very normal condition, what we see in Delhi or other places.
Okay.
And it's not practically possible to monitor every nook and corner of the place. Let's understand the basic facts first, then we'll come on the debate. So my point is, this school bus has been targeted today, and incidentally, the guys who are doing it, they're also kids of 13, 14 years. So that's very unfortunate, the kind of situation which is developing in Kashmir is that the young boys are getting exploited by a section of the people or section of that, people who want to disturb Kashmir. They are the one who are doing all these things. And, these things are pre-planned, They always look for a soft place somewhere where, generally the forces are not there or it's not possible to monitor every inch and corner
don't
of the
patronize
place.
me. Don't patronize me, Mr. Gupta. Are you telling me that there's no law enforcement in
I'd like to
Shopian?
complete first. I'd like to complete. Please give me.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that please understand that these kind of incidents are very unfortunate incidents. Nobody appreciates that the school kids buses or school kids should be targeted. But at the same time, please understand that, as I said, that it's a very typical situation which is happening in Kashmir. The young boys of 13, 14 years, they are the one who pelt the stones. And, even for the police force also, it becomes very, very difficult, or the forces become very, very difficult to handle those things.
Why?
So, it's a very typical situation, what is happening in Kashmir today. But now, in spite of that, police forces and all other forces, they're doing their best to control the situation.
How?
And now I happen to speak to the IG Kashmir just now, a few minutes back. And what I could really understand from him, that although they are trying to do every possible thing to control these kind of situations, and you were saying about filing FIR, and you were saying about taking those people into custody. There's always, going to happen. But the fact remains, it's a very, very typical situation which any government cannot handle. And for understanding this, it's important to go to Kashmir once and see the situation, how things take place. Maybe if I'm in Delhi, I will not be able to comprehend and draw a narrative out of that, how this is possible, how this can happen.
I thank you, Mr. I thank you, Mr. Arun Gupta, for your healthy supply of condescension that you have served me today. I have visited Kashmir not once or twice, but several times over. I'm also not seated in Delhi. I'm seated in Mumbai. If you want to change your argument to that effect, it doesn't change the fact that you said that there's no law enforcement. My bureau chief from Srinagar has just texted me saying there are 18,000 CRPF men in Shopian alone, that there is enough law enforcement on the ground. Now, you were telling me that you will take them into custody. When will you take them into custody? What is the update of the investigation? How far have you gotten? And if you think that I don't know enough and you can't address me, then address the people on the panel who understand the state that you're talking about. But there's one thing that does not change, Mr. Arun Gupta, the fact 5,000 police included in Shopian as well. So one thing does not change. It remains the responsibility of the state government to keep the children safe. Now, either you can do the job or you can't do the job. It's not like you took up the job that you will keep the children of Kerala safe and we are asking you to keep the children of J&K safe. So I refuse to take those arguments from you. Let me go across to bring in the rest of my panelists at this point. Rifat Javed wanted to come in. Rifat Javed, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Faye, thank you very much. I'm just shaking my head in disbelief, hearing Mr. Gupta, explicitly admitting the incompetence of his government. I mean, to use the argument that, it's very difficult for people to understand in Delhi and Bihar and UP to understand what's going on in Kashmir. Let me just correct him that it's not people of UP or Bihar or Uttar Pradesh who are ruling there. It's a local people. When they went to the polls in 2014, they clearly knew the alarming situation, the enormity of the situation. You came together, right, to rule the government. And by the way, what happened today has not come in isolation. Only 3 days ago, stone pelters were attacking a bus full of tourists. You're talking about, the police can't be deployed. I mean, I can't believe a person from the ruling party is coming and openly saying on a national TV that, you simply cannot prevent a single incident. When the situation, it's not a rocket science to understand that Shopian, which is a hub of South Kashmir. We carried the story 2.5 years ago on Janata Ka Reporter saying that how the South Kashmir was becoming the hub of homegrown militancy. Clearly you are aware of that. Forget about the policing. Where is your human intelligence? Where is your local intelligence gathering units? What were they doing? If it was pre-planned, clearly you have failed to thwart the attempts that they were planning, right? So, clearly, this is shambolic for a member of ruling party to come on national TV and admit and justify that, look, it happened.
Let me also bring in Mahmood.
It reminds me of the Deputy Chief Minister.
Let me
just
also,
one line,
yes,
just one line, Faye. It reminds me of the Deputy Chief Minister saying day before yesterday that Kathua ka choti ghatna hai, isko bhav nahi dena chahiye. If that is the flippancy you have towards a serious crime affecting the common people, then God save the country, God save Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, let me bring in Mr. Mahmood Paracha as well, and I just want to point out here, Mr. Paracha, at the end of the day, the responsibility lies with the state government, and this incident should have caused the state government to round up these people and lock them up, because stone pelting is not okay, whosoever the target is, whether it is an ordinary citizen, whether it is a member of the armed forces, and especially if it is a child. Mr. Paracha, can you hear me?
Faye,
yes, go ahead, please.
I would totally agree with you, but yes, I can. I just want to say that each one of your panelists, including you, has stated simple facts and which is not rocket science to understand. But one point which I think everybody is missing is, and which Mr. Gupta is the best person to understand, and he knows that best, better than any of us, is that BJP and RSS, they have used Kashmir, the situation in Kashmir, to their benefit. They have mastered this art. When they were in opposition, they were using the Kashmir situation in Kashmir to their benefit, saying that the present, that time government was not capable of handling Kashmir. And they always try to give a communal color to the issue of Kashmir. And they reap the benefit of that. Unfortunately, they have mastered the art of using their own flaws. Now, it is their government. But they have still mastered the art of using Kashmir to their advantage by whipping up communal feelings in rest of India.
Let's talk on the topic and the subject, please.
That is exactly what they are doing. And this is the only reason.
You are derailing the topic, gentlemen.
That is what I am saying. This is the topic. So unless we go to the root of the problem, the beneficiary,
no, this is not the topic.
Of all these situations, which is getting worse since the time of the present BJP government in Kashmir.
You are derailing the topic.
Allow me to make my point.
In case you want to talk on BJP RSS, that's a different topic altogether.
That is the topic.
Don't do that.
So this incompetence,
I'm sorry, then you have taken the topic wrong. This is not the topic.
So
no,
that is
I don't
the
agree.
Root cause.
Let's only talk about
I'm not
the topic.
Taking the topic wrong. Allow me to make my point.
No, let him finish speaking, please. Let him finish speaking.
You're talking about 70 years back. Are you talking about 70 years of the whole history of Jammu and Kashmir?
No.
No, it's not that we are talking about.
No, I am talking
about. We are talking about what happened today morning. Let's only confine to that.
All right. Let's talk about what happened this morning.
I have made my point. If you don't want to listen to me, I have made my point.
I'm sorry. You are derailing the topic.
No. Mr. Arun Gupta, I will decide if someone has derailed this topic. I will decide if someone has derailed the topic. But since you insist on talking about what happened this morning, Raja Ejaz Ali, retired IGP Crime, joins us from Srinagar. Mr. Ali, here's my question. A big yellow bus carrying 40 children was driving through Shopian at 9:30 a.m. It was stoned for 2 whole minutes. Do you believe Mr. Arun Gupta's argument that there was no law enforcement and there was nothing that could have been done?
No, thank you very much for calling me, and I must tell you, I have an experience of handling such a situation for quite some years in the area in 90s. Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have the experience of handling such a situation in South Kashmir. I must tell you, we have a ROP road opening parties placed right around 5:30 in the morning. Then we have local deployment of the police also. Firstly, we will have to think of 2 things. Firstly, the policing, and secondly, about the mission and what was the mechanism behind it for creating such a scare in the morning. You see, we are failing to actually detect what was the intention of the people to create such a scare. So firstly, I tell you that policing, we have an effective apparatus of intelligence, they should have known it. And then suppose an incident has happened, I can say that our police cannot be omnipresent. But after we had the police, we had the driver, eyewitness available there, we had the children, we had the conductor, we had the people around. And it was not a isolated place, it was a very passers-by were there, people were there. And the boys who have pelted stones, they were very much the locals. And it also vindicates that the claim of government and the police that they are being paid because they cannot have any anger and vengeance against the little kids and students so that they try to stone pelt on them. So police should have been able to catch hold of the miscreants within an hour or 2 itself. That I do feel that there is some laxity on that part. But the second thing, the police is responsible, but it calls for a social policing at this stage, because we must understand why the scare has been created. What is the mechanism behind it? You see, earlier in 90s, they tried to burn down the schools. They were depriving the kids, the future generation of this education. And now, if they understand that the boys from J&K have started securing positions in the All India services. So how to hit this one? So if it is to be hit, the first thing, they will try to secure the schooling, the better schooling. It was the bus of a private school, and certainly boys might have thought of taking better schooling. So they have tried to hit this mechanism, and there is a mechanism behind it. And I must say that if the people of the resistance have condemned it, they must also put their efforts at this time to identify the culprits. Okay. Who are the people behind this thing? If they are not, they are thinking they are condemning it, it's not only to condemn, but they should help the police also to identify the actual miscreants.
Well, I want to ask Mr. Arun Gupta this question.
I think
Mr. Arun Gupta,
since will also have to do some accounting. They will also have to do some accounting.
Since 10th of September last year, 30 schools were burnt down by unknown people in Kashmir. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah, man.
Has anyone been arrested?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Ma'am, if it's asked to me, no, I can vouch for this thing because I have handled the crime, this complete department also. Very less of it, only a few, maybe only few by numbers, 1 or 2 cases would have been solved, but most of the cases which were the burnt buildings of the schools have not been solved till now.
All right, so Mr. Arun Gupta, why is that? Why is there an inability to solve these cases?
I mean, they're all under investigation and they take their own time. You know that. And, again,
less priority.
we
less
only have to say
no priority
that,
is being given to these things.
What do you mean priority has not been given to this? Means, what do you mean by that?
He said low priority
means
has
the
been
government,
given to these
it's
things.
there's a process to do things,
Really?
and government does by process only.
During the investigation,
So this is what is happening, and they're doing it. Now we were talking about a subject. I'm again want to come back on the subject that what has happened this morning. Are we trying to say that is something which? And I agree with what IG Crime has said now, retired IG Crime has said. I agree with him. There has to be some social policing, which is equally important.
No.
You know? Because
no. Arun Gupta,
who is getting targeted?
Arun Gupta,
Kids
either your
are getting
government can
targeted.
do its job or you turn around and say, sorry, we cannot keep you safe, and you come clean to your people and say, we are unable to keep your children safe. Now, we
No, it's
as
not that.
politicians
It's not-
in
no,
Kashmir
sorry, it's not
will
that.
send our
Government-
children overseas to
In
fancy
these most
schools
difficult
elsewhere.
conditions,
We'll send them to
please
Delhi.
understand, in
But
these
we can't
most
keep your
difficult
children
conditions,
safe. Own
government
it
is
up
doing their
and
job
tell the people of
perfectly.
Kashmir that you are unable to keep them
That's
safe.
what I'm saying. Government is doing the job perfectly as they can
Really?
do. This is what I'm saying. Government is doing the job most perfectly, you know. It's a most difficult condition to handle.
Can I come in?
Yeah,
So many things are
anyone who
happening in
wants to
Kashmir.
anyone who wants to
Every day there is a
respond
new
to Arun
narrative.
Gupta saying the
Every day
state
there are new
government is
things
doing a
happening.
perfect job, please go ahead.
I want
Mr.
to.
Paracha, go ahead.
Faye,
Mr.
I
Paracha.
want to respond to that.
Yes, go ahead.
Faye, I want to respond to that. See, when their failures are getting them benefits, where is the incentive to correct their mistakes? They are able to rip up and they are able to get the benefit by communalizing the situation in rest of India. So where is the incentive for them to govern
No, please
properly
spell
or
out
to
the benefits
rule
also.
properly?
We'll be very grateful if you spell out the
Mr. Gupta will
benefits.
not address this
Please
aspect.
tell us what benefits
because
you're talking
they can
about.
whip up communal passions here. Because
Which
of the
benefit
miseries
you're
of
talking
Kashmir,
about?
that
What
is
are you talking about
that is why they
benefits?
are going to continue to do this.
I mean, this is
so
what
answer this.
benefits.
Because
I'm
you
finding-
communalize,
finding
but
very
that's
you
the-
communalize and try to
using what
polarize
benefit.
the
What benefit
Hindu
we
votes
talking about?
against Muslims.
What can we do the benefits?
No, that's
No,
all right.
You know what?
That is what you
I
do.
want to make this very clear to my
You have no
panel.
incentive to
I want-
correct your
One
mistakes.
second. Mr. Paracha, Mr. Gupta, I want to make this very clear. I want to hang on. Everybody take a breath. Everyone take a breath. I'll tell you what.
I would like to just come in.
Yes.
if-
The Hindu
if
versus
you would give me a
Muslim,
minute, please.
we should police ourselves, social policing, none of this matters. None of this matters because there is a state government that is meant to keep the babies safe. And that doesn't change irrespective of the state. Now, you might say that there are lots of other things that happen in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but keeping the babies safe is the job of law and order. That is not a job that you can shirk under any circumstance. So at this point, given what happened today, we have crossed all the lines.
We
So
never said,
I no longer want to
that it's
listen
not
to
our
this Hindu
responsibility.
versus Muslim
We
argument.
never said
I
that
want
we
to
don't
know
have to
why
do that.
you didn't arrest
I'm
anybody
only
today.
trying to say, please,
Captain
I'm only
Gaur will
trying to
respond.
say.
Absolutely.
Captain Gaur, please, go ahead.
See, Faye, can I come in, please?
Yes,
Can
please.
I come in?
Can I respond to this thing, ma'am?
Captain Gaur will respond first and then Mr. Ali. Captain Gaur, go ahead, please.
Can I come in, ma'am?
Yeah, you see, what I really don't like what Mr. Prasha is trying to do. He's trying to really communalize this whole thing. Now, the issue here is the children have been attacked by miscreants in Kashmir Valley, right? The same thing happened during the riots in Delhi. When the strike was there, the Jat agitation was there, it happened in Delhi. What did Mr. Prasher have to say for that? For God's sake, stop communalizing everything and getting it down to that. This is not a question of a communal thing. This question is of ensuring the safety of the children, number one. Number two is ensuring that education is provided to children in Kashmir Valley. The militants and the people across the borders have been trying to disrupt this thing in the valley since 1990. I always stand by that this thing that is carrying on in the valley, the people of the valley now have to. This is the question for the society to ask themselves, that are we going to allow this sort of thing happening with our children? That means the children are not going to go to school, the police will not be able to provide protection to each and every bus, each and every student that is going to go to school, And
Why
what
not?
is going to happen to Kashmir Valley students?
Okay, so
They
hang
are
on.
going
So
to
tell
be
me
back
something.
into
So
the
tell me
dark
something.
ages.
Tell me something.
And
One second.
everything is finished.
So okay. So since Mr. Arun Gupta as well, since you like to answer my questions with condescension, treat me like a 4-year-old that gets stoned in the state of Kashmir. Answer these questions. With 15 battalions of CRPF, 18,000 CRPF men, 5,000 police, including armed police, 22,000 for the district and a half, at 9 in the morning when the school children are going to school, why can't we give them protection?
Can I come in, ma'am?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I come in?
Yes, Mr. Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, you see, ma'am, this is firstly, we should not doubt the intentions of the government for not providing the safe and the security to the children or the education. This is one stray incident. It has happened this day, but we are forgetting that thousands and thousands of buses are traveling early in the morning. They reach their destination, and in the evening they reach back their homes also. That is also a contribution of the people and contribution of the police. And at the same time, we should not forget that every task, everything is being escorted and supported by police in the valley. Even if it's a ration distribution, it's escorting of people, it's a banking escorting and everything. People are doing the job. Certainly they are doing job. But this needs only a audit that, firstly, they should do the audit of all the routes, and ROPs are there. And at the same time, they should get into this conspiracy which has been hatched. Maybe that's a CID will have to do a lot of things. You see, the remedial action will be there. That will be there. Deterrence will be there. There will be there. I'm sure by this evening the culprits will be in the lockup. But the mechanism where the things are being engineered for harassing, for scaring away the children from the school, that requires to be attended to. And CID will play a major role, and also the society will play a major role in that one. But police has been doing an excellent job. It is not a question of how many battalions, how many number of the police you will deploy them on the road. 24 hours you may deploy the police on the road. You may have the forces on the road. One small opportunity is required for a miscreant. A 1 minute or 1 second is required for this miscreant. Okay. Here also they have availed of 2 minutes, and also about 5 to 10 stone pelting. And they have enjoyed this cheese. So we'll have to take care of that thing also.
Ramakant Gaur, please go ahead. Ramakant Gaur.
Intentions of the government are clear. Contentions of the police are very clear.
The government of Jammu and Kashmir cheated on the citizen of the state and the police as well. And I'm saying that on the strength of the statistics. The statistics which are straight, that 17,000 cases, more than 17,000 cases of stone pelting had taken place during 2015 to 2017. This is not small in number. What did state government do? 3rd of February 2018, you have actually approved the withdrawal of prosecution of these 9,730 people who were accused. This is your conduct. Let me put the record straight. And if you have not the data, please look into the Times of India of 3rd of February 2018. This is what you did this year. You are discharging, you are withdrawing the prosecution of the accused person who was pelting the stones. This is the state of law and order situation. Now, you were aware of the law and order situation earlier. You were aware of the education. You were aware of the mass or the section of the people who are distracting people. But you promised. Now, PDP promised something which is to be noted. They promised us that they will be creating model villages, model apple villages, model saffron villages, model walnut villages. None. They have, promised us the greater cities. Well, none. I mean, you have promised.
So it boils down to simple things. It boils down to simple things, Ramakant Gaur, and this is my question to Arun Gupta. Arun Gupta and Mr. Paracha will respond. One second. Arun Gupta. How often has the Chief Minister of Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, Ms. Mufti, had a meeting with her cabinet in the last 6 months about the schools that had been burnt in the investigation that followed, about the child that had been raped, about the fact that you appointed a deputy chief minister who says choti si baat hai. How often has this come up? What is the priority level from within the government? How important is education? Look at the track record of education over the last 8 months in the state of Jammu and Kashmir in particular. There have been curfew after curfew. Children actually came out into the street in November and said, please let us take our exams. How important is education in your government?
Are you looking for the answer? No, are you looking for answer for all the questions you asked?
Yes.
No, are you looking for the answer for all the questions you're asking? Okay, let me reply you one by one. You were talking about how often the cabinet meeting and chief minister has discussed in the cabinet. In the cabinet, a lot of things are discussed, a lot of important issues are discussed, and including the issues what you have spoken about, they are also discussed. Because in a cabinet, in a state government has a lot of things to discuss, state government has a lot of things to do, so they discuss these issues also. And you were talking about other issues which had happened yesterday or which had happened few days back. Telling you very frankly, Jammu and Kashmir, as I said earlier, Jammu and Kashmir is passing through a very, very difficult phase. And once they are passing through difficult phase, please appreciate with us what I'm saying. For a government, it is very, very, a difficult task to have everything in order. We are trying our level best. We are trying to ensure that everything is in order.
Your best
and we are
is
doing,
not good enough.
Trust me, I can say we are doing our best.
Your best
Yeah,
is,
I know may not be enough for you,
enough.
but as far as we are concerned, you have to believe me that we are doing enough to ensure in difficult conditions to run the government as successfully as possible.
Mr. Paracha will respond. Mr. Paracha, go ahead, please.
See,
only if it does not derail the topic.
Most important point is that from the time of swearing in of this government, the situation is getting from bad to worse, and that is the root point. The situation was much better earlier, and this they have to accept that they are a total failure, both at the micro level and at the macro level of tackling Pakistan. The central government has totally failed, despite the hardships which the country suffered on the pretext of stopping militancy in Kashmir, the demonetization and everything. They have failed on the macro level of tackling Pakistan policy on India,
totally seem
and
to be
especially
pro-Pakistan
Kashmir, and they have failed on the
debate
micro
today.
level
You are only talking about something which is
law and
only
order.
suiting them.
The situation
Please
was
understand,
much
we are
better
not
earlier.
discussing this topic at
We
all.
have seen in Kashmir, we go to Kashmir every month. We
This
have
is
seen
not the
business
topic.
was
Why are
there.
you derailing the
We've
topic?
seen there
Thrice
was
you have
absolute
derailed the
peace
topic.
and
It's
tranquility
not appreciable.
about 4
Why
years
you
back.
every time talking something which is not we are discussing today? Please tell
This is
us.
the
Please
reason.
tell us what to do in this
Gentlemen, talking about
situation.
the
We
failure
would
of this
appreciate that all the more.
This government is failed on all fronts.
Have you
Center as
forgotten
well as
2010? What has
You are not
happened?
willing to accept this
2010.
point.
What
That
happened
is
in
the root cause of the
2010?
problem.
What all
You have
happened
to
in Jammu and
accept.
Kashmir 2010?
You tell me what
Why
happened.
are you talking
The situation
about what
was
is
much
happening
better
today?
in 2012. It was better in
No,
2011.
you tell me
It was
if you are
business
talking about
as
statistics,
usual
you
in
should
Kashmir in
understand what you are talking.
2011-10. Everybody has seen that.
You are talking about a subject. You are saying what happened today. That's what I'm saying. You don't know what happened in
2009, 2010, 2011
happened in
situation was
2010?
far better. See your data. See your
Sir, in
data.
2013, there
How
were
did-
11
This is
lakh
what I'm saying.
tourists
Please
in the
please
venue.
come with the statistics.
Now there are only 4 lakh tourists in the
Very,
venue.
very
This
serious
is the
situation.
statistics of your
You may not be
president.
remembering that.
Actually, you know what, gentlemen, in fact, this is not one of those debates where we all talk over each other. Let me bring in Ramakant Gaur was calling out a statistic
No,
that
but
is really
I must
important.
admit here that you are just trying to derail the topic, which we are not appreciating at all. If you have to speak something, you speak on the topic. That's it.
Sir, you have no answer about the withdrawal of the prosecution of the stone pelters. You derail. You try to distract.
So that's a
Now
fair
you
question
have
that
discussed
Ramakant Gaur has
Are you
asked.
aware
It's a
of the
fair
fact?
question.
Are you aware of
When
the
you
fact the
offered
stone
amnesty,
pelters
when you
whose
offered
cases have been
amnesty,
withdrawn, they were the stone pelters of 2010. And these new stone pelters are the new generation stone pelters.
2008
You may not be
to
knowing this fact.
2017.
Please
check
correct
your
your
facts.
Please correct
Please
your
check your facts. I know the facts
These
better
stone
than you.
pelters who have been
Mr.
released,
Gupta, stone
they
pelters are stone
2010
pelters.
stone pelters. There is a 7 years of generation gap.
Can I come in, ma'am? Can I
Listen,
come in?
it doesn't, we can make any number of excuses right now, but Miss Mufti herself will agree
No,
as a mother that when our children come in the way, when our children are made targets, we should have no more, we should have no more patience for anybody. I don't care what generation of stone pelter this is, what particular breed of stone pelter this is, what kind of stones they are using. If they're pointing those stones at our children, they belong inside of the jail where they can no longer hurt anybody.
We never said they should not be.
Then
we never
why
said they should not be
haven't you
handled.
managed
we
to
never
do
said
anything
they should
about
not
it?
be taken care. But only what I'm trying
What
to
is
say
the status of
that
the
we should
investigation
understand that
of today's
these stone
incident?
pelters we're talking about. We
What
are talking
is-
about they have
no,
been
no,
released.
hang
but
on.
the fact remains,
What
there
is
were
the
2010
status
stone
of today's
pelters.
investigation?
Can I come in,
What is
ma'am?
the status of today's investigation? Have you gotten eyewitness accounts? Have you lined people up? Have you found out who this is? Why wasn't there anybody on the ground when it happened? What is the status of today's investigation? This is a question I've been asking you from the beginning of the show. Humor me. Tell me why you haven't found a single one of these people yet.
Which investigation?
Today in Kashmir,
No,
a
which
child
investigation
was
you're talking
stoned, a bus was stoned. In my opinion, somebody broke the law. Tell me if you are investigating that incident, or we're just going to sit here and talk about it on television again.
At the very start I said, the police is doing its job. They are identifying the people, and the needful is being done. And the same time I said,
you know what, Mr. Gupta, you've made vague statements from the beginning of the police is doing its job. They're identifying the culprits. The justice will be done. These things take time. Investigation will happen in due course. What are these vague statements you're giving me? Do you have anything concrete to tell me? Has the FIR been filed? Have they lined up people? Have they spoken to witnesses? Give me concrete statements.
But this is exactly how things take place.
No, this is not how things take place.
This is exactly how things take place, ma'am. This is what happens.
Oh my God.
This is the way to do.
Oh my God.
The people of the country
After all, things have to be identified before the action is taken.
They are not free.
That's been done. And there is, on that spot, there is an encounter going around at this time also.
So this, Rifa Javed, go ahead, please.
You know, at the risk of repeating myself, you know, I just simply can't believe, you know, the senior spokesperson of a responsible party, you know, time and again, you know, sort of publicly admitting that, look, you know, so what, we are behaving like a headless chicken so what, we are incompetent to rule govern the state. It's okay, you know. Let me remind you, in October 2014, Prime Minister Mr. Modi, who is very concerned about the children, and time and again he has shown that concern, he went and he was addressing the Kashmiri public. He said, look, the terrorism in Kashmir has killed a lot of soldiers, but it has also killed ordinary public. I have come here to wipe the tears of yours. I have come here to share your grief. You know, how does that chime? You know, with what you are seeing, Mr. Gupta, on live TV now, that look, it happens. You know, rape happens. Children can be brutalized. You know, we can leave the permanent scar on their minds. You know, it happens. It's fine. You know, we are living in an electoral politics. You know, as you speak here, the senior leaders are campaigning in Karnataka.
Did you hear
you know, what kind of messages are you sending to people of Karnataka?
Let's stay on point,
look,
please.
They may be promising right now, but
you
know, when we come to the power, when we come to the government, we will be coming and justifying our failure as well.
Has their own way to work.
Come on.
You know what, Mr. Gupta, let me bring in some people on the phone line as well. But hang on.
I don't have to worry about anything about myself.
One second.
You worry about
look, let's look at the evidence.
That's what I'm saying. Do
One
you
second,
understand
Mr. Gupta, let's look at the evidence.
Do you understand how government works?
Wow.
Please understand. No, you can't talk like this.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let me point out to you, Mr. Gupta, let me understand how your government works. 30 schools were burnt in Kashmir last year, and you have not managed to arrest a single person. You are telling me that the law will take its course. 30 schools were burnt in Kashmir last year. You have not managed to close a single one of those investigations. You're telling me the law will take its course. When a child was raped, it took the people of this country to come out onto the street for any sort of justice to actually take place, for any sort of decent investigation to take place. And now children are being stoned, and we're brushing this off as a stray incident, and nobody has been arrested. And I don't understand what you expect us to believe at this point.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question that how many other children you have taken up on your show? So many things happening in the country. So many children are getting raped. Have you taken case of anybody else also? Why you have not taken that?
My goodness.
I mean, what are you talking about?
Goodness.
I mean, have you gone? What is the kind of intellect you do have?
I hope Prime Minister Modi is watching you today. And all those leaders who are campaigning in Karnataka are watching you today.
It is appalling.
Oh my God.
Mr. Gupta, you do not have the basic courtesy.
What I'm trying to say,
I refuse to dignify that question with an answer. I'm sorry. That's shocking.
Absolutely
Why are we
nonsense.
talking about that? That is not a debate today.
Fahir Mone on the phone line from Kashmir.
We are only discussing on a debate.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, sir.
We should not make categories of stone pelters. There are no good stone pelters and bad stone pelters.
Yes.
I think citizens of Kashmir must come out against such type of violence, which is destroying us ruthlessly in every manner now. And if we fail to do so, then we have to be ready for Syria-like situation.
Absolutely. There is no difference between good stone pelters and bad stone pelters. Stone pelters are stone pelters. They're hurting people and they're disrupting life, and especially when they make targets of our children, we should have zero patience for this behavior. Captain Gaur, go ahead.
I was only trying to correct him when he said no.
Yeah, my point over here is, you see, after today's incident, I would appeal to the civil society of Kashmir to come up and stand up against all this that is happening within Kashmir Valley. You see, if today the society does not stand against all these people, these stone pelters, they are going to now, apart from the stone pelters, the others are going to come and barge into their houses and ensure that there is total chaos over there. You may have another 20,000 security personnel, they will not be able to do anything because the society has to come and stand against these people. They are the ones who have to now take the initiative. The tourist season is coming, the tourists are being attacked. You see, recently we had the Thai convention over here in Kashmir after 30 years. And the Thai convention, as you know, is the Travel Agents Association of India, which is the national body of the travel agents in India. It is considered as the Travel Congress.
Captain Gaur, you know, I understand how this might be an interesting point to actually call out the achievements of the local government. But I want to understand, what is the PDP government doing? We cannot turn around and say that it is the civil society's responsibility. It is a responsibility of law enforcement to keep the children safe. And I'm going to keep circling back to this. Now, you can make an appeal to civil society as much as you want, but there are people in uniform, and they're in uniform for a reason.
I am not condoning that, please. I am not condoning that. The law and order is the prime responsibility of the government of the day, and they should take care of that. I am not condoning that, but I am saying that till date, what we have seen is that the civil society has stopped coming out and taking a stand against these people. That is what is missing. And if now,
are you saying that if the civil society comes out and takes a stand against these people, then the government will investigate? If the civil society comes out and takes a stand, then the government will investigate. That's the condition.
The government is doing its job.
If the government is doing its job, how come nobody's been arrested for burning down 30 schools last year?
I don't understand.
How come nobody's been arrested for burning down 30 schools last year?
Then I am sure the informers are there. The people know who these people were. I'm sure the people are there who know who the people did this and who are the people there.
What is police doing? Why is government sleeping over the issue? The only issue is you are sleeping over the law and order situation, you are sleeping over the economic issues, you are sleeping over about creating jobs. You are actually, in fact, you are also responsible for creating these breed of job pelters.
I'm not a spokesman of the PDP for here.
I've run out of time, but I just want to point out one thing.
I'm not a spokesman of the government.
I've run out of time on this show, but I just want to point out one thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what part of the country we're talking about. From the northeast to the edge of Gujarat, from Kashmir down to Kerala and Kanyakumari, it doesn't matter what government it is, it doesn't matter what political party it is, it doesn't matter what chief minister it is. If you hurt our children, we are not going to have any more patience for you. This is not a stray incident. Attacks on education, attacks on children attacks on our babies day in and day out across this country. Enough is enough. Take your politics behind closed doors and leave our children out of it. Every day in our papers, there are stories of our children being attacked, in the crossfire. When the Karni Sena was upset about some film, they put our children in the crossfire. The separatists in Kashmir are upset, they put our children in the crossfire. It is the sworn responsibility of the state government of every state to keep our children safe. And you knew that before you took on the job. You knew what kind of state you were taking on. You knew what kind of problems it would come with. If you didn't think you could keep the children safe, resign and go home and give the job to somebody who can. But we will not tolerate the lax behavior and the reaction we are seeing to what happened today in Kashmir. We don't care about politics, like I keep saying on this channel, but if you bring our children into it, you have crossed a line. And now we are on to you. It's simply not okay. I will agree with one thing, that in India we have sat in silence for too long as parents. If there is one thing that unites us across state borders, if there's one thing that unites us across language, across religion, from the hills to the sea, it's the fact that we are parents and we send our children to school every day. We send them to school in buses. We hope that they will be safe. We hope that they will come home at the right time and they will come home in one piece. They will come home being educated and cared for. We do not pay taxes to run a country where stones are thrown at our children, where our children are being raped in schools, where our children are being raped in madrasas, where our children are being treated in this manner. It is not okay for any state government to think that this is how things function. The parents across this country need to come together once and for all and say, this is not okay. Any child is our child. Any child could be my child tomorrow. You start to take this seriously, because the biggest vote bank in this country, my dear politicians, are parents. And there is no emotion stronger than what we feel for our children. You take our children more seriously, or we'll stop taking you seriously. Thanks for watching.